Hello everyone. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful moments are rarely the loud ones? They don't always come wrapped in thunderous laughter, dramatic confessions, or grand gestures meant to steal attention. Often, the moments that stay with us the longest are the quiet ones, the ones that last only a few seconds, pass without announcement, and yet somehow settle deeply in the heart. Moments so subtle that you could blink and miss them. But once you notice them, you can never unsee them again. That night, when all 7 BTS members finally reunited and gathered together at RM's house, the atmosphere felt different from the very beginning. It wasn't the kind of energy built for a stage or a scripted broadcast. It felt warm, unguarded, and real. The kind of warmth that exists when people don't feel the need to perform, when they can simply exist as themselves. There was no pressure in the room. No forced reactions. Smiles appeared naturally without effort. Soft laughter drifted through the space, layered with overlapping conversations that didn't need to be organized or timed. Felt like home, not just a place but a feeling. 7 people sharing comfort, history, and familiarity built over years of growing together. And yet, in the middle of all that warmth, there was one small moment that almost disappeared into the background. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't meant to be noticed. But for those who were really paying attention, that moment spoke louder than anything else that night. One quiet call. One sudden reaction. One instinctive act of care. And that is where this story truly begins. During BTS's live broadcast that evening, something unfolded so quickly that it was easy to overlook. It happened within seconds, blending seamlessly into the laughter, the movement, and the playful chaos filling the room. And yet, somehow, it became one of the most meaningful fragments of the entire live. The mood was light. The members were joking freely, teasing one another, moving around without any sense of structure. Everything felt spontaneous. In the middle of it all, Jimin called Jungkook over. Not loudly. Not dramatically. No exaggerated gestures. Just a simple phrase, "Come here." Soft. And unmistakably different in tone. It was the kind of voice you use when you're speaking to someone you trust deeply. A tone not meant for the room but for one person alone. A tone filled with care, familiarity, and quiet closeness. Jungkook hadn't even fully processed the call when Jin, in his usual playful manner, nudged him toward the sofa. It was light-hearted, harmless teasing, but Jungkook lost his balance. His body tilted forward, his head going down first as he fell toward the couch. It all happened in a blink. Laughter erupted around them. The room stayed light. No one panicked. It could have ended there, just another funny moment in a relaxed live broadcast. But among all the reactions, one stood out immediately. The moment Jungkook fell, Jimin's expression changed. Instantly. There was no laughter from him. No amused smile. No delayed reaction. His eyes locked onto Jungkook with full focus, as if the rest of the room faded away. In that split second, it felt like the world narrowed, like only one thing mattered. "Are you okay?" he asked right away. "Is your neck okay?" The questions came out without hesitation, without calculation. They weren't chosen carefully for the camera. They were reflexive, automatic, words that surfaced before thought could interfere. The kind of response that comes from habit, from familiarity, from caring too much to pause. Even before Jungkook could fully answer, Jimin leaned forward. His body moved first. His arm lifted instinctively, ready to steady Jungkook, ready to support him if needed. It wasn't planned. It wasn't performative. It wasn't conscious. It was pure instinct. Jimin didn't wait for reassurance from the room. He didn't let the moment slide past. Instead, he gently asked Jungkook to sit beside him, closing the distance between them. He needed to see Jungkook clearly, to make sure with his own eyes that he was truly okay. Even when Jin continued joking and lightly pushed Jungkook back toward the sofa, keeping the mood playful, Jimin's attention never drifted. His focus stayed fixed. His concern didn't soften into humor. Slowly, carefully, Jimin lifted his hand and reached for Jungkook's neck. The movement was gentle. Deliberate. Measured. Not rushed. Not exaggerated. Just a brief touch. Light, careful, and filled with meaning. The way someone checks on something precious. The way someone acts when they genuinely care without needing to explain why. A protective gesture that needed no words. And that is exactly where its beauty lies. There were no big reactions. No dramatic pauses. Just a quiet moment filled with concern. A moment that felt deeply personal, even as it unfolded in front of millions of viewers. This is the kind of moment that helps people understand why Jikook's dynamic has always felt different. They don't rely on grand displays or explicit declarations. Their connection lives in the smallest details. A glance that comes too quickly to be intentional. A hand that moves before thought. A question asked at exactly the right time. That alone says everything. And that moment wasn't an isolated one. As the broadcast continued, the same subtle pattern appeared again and again, so naturally that it barely registered as something intentional. Every time Jungkook looked at Jimin, his expression softened. A smile spread across his face, not exaggerated, not performative, just warm, genuine. Not a smile for the camera, not a smile for the audience, but the smile of someone who feels safe, comfortable, at ease, simply because a certain person is nearby. And every time Jimin smiled, his gaze almost instinctively searched for Jungkook. Even in the middle of group conversations. Even when others were speaking. His eyes seemed to need to find Jungkook, if only for a second, as if the smile wasn't complete until Jungkook was within reach. There were no obvious signals. No attention-seeking gestures. No deliberate attempts to show anything. Just quiet exchanges happening in plain sight. Jungkook smiles when he sees Jimin. Jimin looks for Jungkook when he smiles. A perfectly closed loop. Wordless. Effortless. Unconscious. That's what makes it so touching. They aren't trying to communicate something to the audience. They're simply being themselves. Between jokes and conversations, they create small, private spaces where their connection lives quietly, uninterrupted by the noise around them. That's why so many people find themselves replaying this live broadcast again and again. Not because of any dramatic highlight, but because of these tiny details. The moments that feel real. The gestures that can't be rehearsed. The care that can't be manufactured. That night's BTS Live felt grounded and warm. All 7 members gathered to welcome the new year with ARMY, not as performers but as people. Jokes flowed freely. Interruptions happened naturally. Conversations overlapped. Everything felt effortless as the countdown approached. 9. 8. As 0 was called, cheers filled the room. Laughter followed. New Year wishes were shared. Smiles were exchanged. The moment passed softly without spectacle. The live ended without fireworks. Without grand statements. Without dramatic scenes. And precisely because of that, it felt unforgettable. Behind the laughter, there was quiet care that couldn't be faked. A connection that didn't need to be explained. A presence that remained steady, calm, constant, and reassuring. Jikook never need big words to express what they share. All it takes is one reflexive glance. One careful touch. One reaction that arrives before logic has time to catch up. Because love doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes, it arrives in the softest ways. Through care. Through protection. Through the simple choice to stay close. Even when the world grows noisy. Thank you for being here. If you felt the warmth of this small moment, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, so we can continue finding beauty in the quiet details that are often overlooked. Happy New Year. May this year bring health, happiness, and love, for BTS and for all of us. See you in the next moment.